Bill Mitchell's word was law inside General Motors' design when he declared the 1963 Corvette would carry a split rear window. Nobody pushed back, except one engineer who called him a red-faced baboon to his face. The war that followed nearly killed the most iconic design in Corvette history. Instead, it created a one-year-only car, now worth $352,000 at auction. This is how a single line of glass split Chevrolet in two. Bill Mitchell's creative authority at General Motors was absolute, and nowhere was that more evident than in the design studios of the early 1960s. On a December afternoon in 1961, Mitchell's sketch for the next-generation Corvette landed on the review table, a dramatic silhouette marked by a razor-sharp spine running from nose to tail, slicing the rear window into two panes of glass. This was not a flourish for its own sake. Mitchell saw the split window as the signature that would set the Corvette apart from every other car on the road. He traced the idea directly to the 1936 Bugatti Type 57 Atlantic, a car he considered the pinnacle of automotive sculpture. In his own words, the Corvette needed a spine, a design element that would give the car a sense of motion even at rest, and a visual identity no rival could match. The original sketches preserved in the General Motors design archives show Mitchell's vision in bold strokes, a continuous central ridge echoing the Bugatti's sweeping line, bisecting the rear glass and flowing seamlessly into the fastback roof. The December 1961 approval memo, signed off as a Christmas gift from upper management, locked in the split window as a non-negotiable element for the 1963 model year. In internal correspondence, Mitchell insisted the car must be a rolling sculpture, not just a machine. He directed his design team, led by Larry Shinoda, to refine the split window until it became the heart of the Sting Ray's identity. This was not a decision made for convenience or compromise. The split window was a line in the sand, a statement that design could and would take precedence over engineering objections. For Mitchell, any attempt to soften or remove the central spine was an attack on the very soul of the Corvette. The stakes were clear: surrender the split window, and Chevrolet would lose its claim to true American automotive artistry. The battle lines were drawn, and the first shot had already been fired in ink and glass. Underneath the dramatic lines of Mitchell's sketches, a parallel transformation was underway in the engineering bays. The 1963 Sting Ray would not simply wear a new face, it would ride on an entirely reimagined platform. Chevrolet's technical staff, working from a clean sheet, introduced a fastback coupe body that swept seamlessly from the windshield to the tail, eliminating the old trunk lid and reinforcing the car's structure for higher speeds. For the first time, hidden headlamps rotated out of sight, reducing drag and sharpening the car's front profile. Wind tunnel tests confirmed the effect. The drag coefficient dropped from 0.44 to 0.38, a leap that placed the Corvette in the company of the world's most advanced sports cars. Yet the most radical departure lay beneath the surface. Zora Arkus-Duntov and his team had spent years lobbying for independent rear suspension, a feature that would transform the Corvette's handling and reputation. By mid-1961, internal memos detailed the proposal: a coil spring, semi-trailing arm layout with a dual-link anti-roll bar designed to keep the rear wheels planted through the tightest corners. The new IRS, documented in the Society of Automotive Engineers technical paper for the 1963 model, promised not just comfort, but real control at the limit. The engineering group knew this was their moment to match European rivals on the track and in the showroom. Every decision on the Sting Ray's platform was a balancing act. The design team wanted a shape that would stun buyers, while the engineers demanded a chassis that could handle the power of the new 327 cubic inch V8. The fastback's continuous roofline added rigidity, but it forced compromises in rear access and sightlines. The IRS brought world-class agility, but at a cost in complexity in dollars. Each innovation became another point of negotiation, sharpening the divide between those who saw the Corvette as a rolling sculpture and those who measured its worth by lap times and technical progress. The platform was ready. The uneasy peace between art and science would not last. Zora Arkus-Duntov's reputation inside Chevrolet rested on more than technical brilliance. He was a racer at heart, a man who measured every design by what it did for the driver, not how it looked under showroom lights. In the spring of 1962, as the split-window design moved from sketch to prototype, Duntov made his position clear. During an engineering board meeting logged in April, he raised a pointed question: would the central spine blocking the rear glass create a hazard for anyone behind the wheel? His concerns were not theoretical. Duntov's own handwritten note, dated May 3, 1962, spelled it out. The split window creates a blind spot that could be fatal at highway speeds. We must reconsider. He cited his experience on the track and referenced new safety standards, warning that the vertical bar would shrink the driver's rear field of view by nearly a third. In his 1962 SAE paper, he went further, stating that any fixed obstruction in the rear window must be weighed against the car's intended performance and the driver's ability to react at speed. The design team, led by Bill Mitchell, dismissed these warnings as overcautious. Mitchell wanted the Sting Ray to be unforgettable, his signature, not Duntov's. But Duntov, unwilling to let the issue drop, pressed his case in front of the studio. Witnesses recall the confrontation. Duntov, frustrated, reportedly called Mitchell a red-faced baboon, as he argued for a single-pane rear glass. The clash was not just about glass or steel, it was about who would set the soul of the Corvette. For Duntov, the stakes were personal. Years later, he would remember, "We got rid of the split window for the 1964 model year, but there was blood spilled over it. My blood." Tempers erupted in the design studio in the summer of 1962, when the split window prototype stood under the harsh fluorescent lights. Bill Mitchell, flanked by his stylists, defended the spine as if it were a family crest. Zora Arkus-Duntov, still in his grease-stained lab coat, pointed at the bisected glass and called it a hazard for anyone who actually drove the car at speed. The argument that followed became legendary inside Chevrolet. Witnesses remembered Duntov, voice rising, accusing Mitchell of sacrificing safety for vanity. In the heat of the moment, Duntov reportedly snapped, calling Mitchell a red-faced baboon. The insult hung in the air, echoing off the drafting tables. Mitchell, not backing down, is said to have threatened to use his connections to make Duntov's life difficult. Some accounts even claim he warned of involving the IRS, a veiled threat that sent a chill through the room. The confrontation turned personal, with both men wielding their authority like weapons. The shouting spilled beyond the design floor, forcing executives to intervene before the feud could derail the entire Sting Ray program. Years later, Duntov would recall, "We got rid of the split window for the 1964 model year, but there was blood spilled over it. My blood." Ed Cole, Chevrolet's chief engineer, stepped in when the feud between design and engineering threatened to grind the Sting Ray project to a halt. Cole was known inside General Motors for his cool head and decisive hand. By late 1962, the split-window debate had spilled into the executive suite, with cost overruns and quality concerns mounting on his desk. Tooling for the unique two-piece rear glass had already run $1.85 million over the standard budget, and the finance worksheets flagged the split window as a recurring expense. The real blow came in January 1964 when a quality control bulletin arrived. 2,743 warranty claims for water leaks traced directly to the seam between the glass panels. Cole reviewed the numbers and the mounting complaints, then issued a clear directive. Retain the split window for the 1963 model year only. The order, formalized on April 8, 1964, called for a return to a single-pane rear glass for 1964. Cole's memo cited not just the cost and leak data, but the risk to Chevrolet's reputation if the issue dragged on. The compromise was final. Mitchell's vision would reach the public, but only for a single year. The molds and specialized tooling would be mothballed, and the Sting Ray would move forward with a new rear window, ending the most heated design battle in Corvette history with a single executive decision. Scarcity has a way of rewriting history. Chevrolet's decision to abandon the split window after just 1 year left exactly 10,594 coupes with the controversial rear glass. What began as a compromise, forced by cost overruns and warranty headaches, ended up creating the Rarest C2 Corvette body style. For decades, collectors scoured registries and barn finds, searching for any surviving example of the 1-year-only Sting Ray. The result is a market where the very feature that divided General Motors' top minds now commands a premium few could have predicted. At auction, a 1963 split-window coupe in top condition brought $352,000 in 2024, more than triple the price of its single-pane successor. Hagerty's sales data tracks a steady climb in value, with 6-figure sales now routine and some buyers assembling personal fleets of split-window cars. The legacy of the feud is measured not just in stories, but in dollars and scarcity. What began as a point of bitter contention now stands as a collector's prize, its value inseparable from the battle that nearly tore Chevrolet apart. Today, the split-window Corvette commands 6-figure prices, proof that design, not practicality, won the war. Duntov called it blood-spilled, yet collectors now chase the very car he fought to kill. In every garage bidding, the battle between vision and function lives on. What side are you on?